What do the Mafia, organized crime rings, and now a megachurch have in common? They've all been accused of violating the same federal law that carries penalties of up to 20 years in prison per count. Gateway Church, once one of America's most prominent megachurches, is now facing RICO Act charges. Yes, the same law designed to take down mob bosses. And if you've been following this church's downward spiral, you know this is just the tip of the iceberg. For those of you just tuning in, Gateway Church has been in freefall since last year. But what's happening now goes far beyond the SA scandal that initially rocked this Dallas-based megachurch. Let me bring you up to speed quickly. Gateway's founder, Robert Morris, pleaded guilty earlier this month to S-ing a woman named Cindy Clemisher for years, starting when she was just 12 years old back in the 1980s. That alone was devastating enough for the thousands of faithful members who trusted his leadership. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. A year ago, 4 church members filed a lawsuit claiming financial fraud. They alleged Gateway promised to give 15% of all tithes to global missions, but only gave a fraction of that amount. We're talking about a church pulling in around $100 million annually. According to the suit, they should have been giving $15 million to missions. Instead, they allegedly gave away just $3 million. Now, those same plaintiffs have escalated their allegations. They're now claiming Gateway violated the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. And if you're wondering what that means, stay with me, because this is where things get serious. So what exactly is the RICO Act, and why is it such a big deal? The Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act was created in 1970 specifically to combat organized crime. We're talking about the mafia, drug cartels, and criminal enterprises that operate across state lines. It's been one of the most powerful tools federal prosecutors have to take down complex criminal organizations. But here's what many people don't realize. RICO doesn't just apply to traditional organized crime. Over the years, it's been used against a wide range of organizations, from businesses engaging in fraud to, yes, even pro-life groups accused of clinic blockades. The key requirement? There must be a pattern of racketeering activity, at least 2 acts of fraud within 10 years across multiple state lines. So why are these plaintiffs invoking RICO against a church? According to the amended lawsuit, Gateway engaged in a pattern of racketeering activity through both mail fraud and wire fraud. Every time Gateway sent emails, posted online statements, or mailed materials containing what the plaintiffs call false and misleading information about where tithe money was going, that potentially counts as fraud. And because Gateway communicated with members across the country through these channels, the plaintiffs argue it crosses state lines, meeting RICO's requirements. Catherine Leach, one of the 4 plaintiffs, told the Roy's report, "If they made these promises with no intention to keep them, that's fraud." The consequences? In criminal cases, RICO violations can result in fines up to $25,000 and up to 20 years in prison for each count. In civil cases like this one, defendants can be forced to pay up to triple damages. But here's what really matters to these plaintiffs. This isn't really about mob-style prosecution tactics or legal technicalities. At its core, this lawsuit is about trust, transparency, and accountability. These 4 members gave their tithes in good faith. They trusted their church leadership. They believed the promises made from the pulpit about where their money would go. And when they had questions, legitimate questions, about whether those promises were kept, they say Gateway stonewalled them. Alan Shoulders worked on staff at Gateway from 2011 to 2014. He told the Roy's report that during his entire tenure, the church never dispersed more than $3 million to global missions in any given year. He also revealed something troubling. Gateway didn't conduct actual audits during his time there. Instead, they did financial reviews, which, in his words, are not designed to detect errors or fraud. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Gateway elder Tra Wilbanks recently doubled down, claiming the church has been conducting independent audits that go back for years and years. He said their accountants at Baker Tilly determined that Gateway goes above and beyond in its giving, and that the 15% claim is false. So, if Gateway has all these audits proving they've done nothing wrong, why won't they show them to the plaintiffs? Catherine Leach says their attorneys have even granted a protective order of confidentiality to the church. This means Gateway could provide the audits without them becoming public. Still, the church has refused. We want to verify that the tithe money, that people gave in good faith, that it's been handled with integrity, Leach said, and they keep refusing to show us that that can be verified. Leach added, this lawsuit was filed as a last resort because they failed to cooperate and show us the books. Think about that for a moment. We're not talking about business competitors trying to steal trade secrets. We're talking about church members who simply want to know that their tithes were used as promised. But there's another layer to this story that makes it even more troubling. According to the lawsuit, Robert Morris repeatedly made a promise to his congregation. If they weren't happy with how their tithe money was used, they could get it back. The suit states that Morris promised on multiple occasions that if the congregation is not happy with the use of its money, it can get the money back. This money-back guarantee is actually central to the RICO allegations. The plaintiffs argue that Gateway used this promise to induce people to give. In other words, the promise made people feel safer about giving large amounts, believing they had a safety net if something went wrong. Catherine Leach took Gateway up on that promise. She asked for her tithe money back. The church has yet to return it. Let me ask you something. If you ran a ministry with integrity and someone asked for their money back under a guarantee you yourself established, wouldn't you either return the money or provide clear documentation showing exactly where it went and why you couldn't honor the guarantee? Alan Shoulders put it simply, I think the connotations of a church being associated with organized crime is not good. It should never happen, he continued. If Gateway truly made promises to induce giving and then didn't keep those promises, that meets the definition of fraud, so I guess it will be up to the courts to decide that. And here's the thing. In September, a judge denied Gateway and Robert Morris's motions to be dismissed from the suit. That means the court believes there's enough merit to these claims to move forward. Catherine Leach called it a significant step in the right direction to address the church's serious financial discrepancies. We are living in a time when trust in religious institutions is at an all-time low. Surveys consistently show that younger generations are walking away from organized religion in record numbers. And stories like this? They're gasoline on that fire, when megachurch leaders promise transparency but refuse to provide it. When they make guarantees from the pulpit but don't honor them. When they hide behind lawyers instead of opening their books. It doesn't just hurt one congregation. It damages the credibility of the entire body of Christ. Proverbs 11:3 tells us, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. And Matthew 5:37 reminds us that our yes should be yes, and our no should be no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. The question Alan Shoulders asked should haunt every church leader. Wouldn't a church be more than proud to show where they were generous and what the impact of that money was? If Gateway truly gave what they promised, if they truly have nothing to hide, why not simply show the receipts? Why fight tooth and nail to keep financial records hidden from the very people whose tithes funded those missions? As this case moves forward, we're going to learn a lot more about what really happened behind the scenes at Gateway. And I suspect we're going to see more churches face similar scrutiny in the coming years. The age of just trust us is over. Accountability isn't optional anymore. Transparency isn't a burden. It's a biblical mandate. Look, I know this is heavy. Many of you watching have probably attended Gateway or know people who have. Some of you may be dealing with your own questions about leadership and financial accountability in your own churches. And that's exactly why we need to talk about these things. If this video has given you something to think about, I want you to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. We're committed to covering stories like this that the mainstream Christian media often ignores or glosses over. The body of Christ deserves better. We need watchdogs who aren't afraid to ask hard questions. Leave a comment below. Do you think churches should be legally required to provide detailed financial disclosures to their members? I want to hear your perspective. Until next time, may we all pursue truth, demand integrity, and remember that we serve a God who sees everything, including how we handle the resources He's entrusted to us. God bless you all.